So everybody, welcome back to Drag Race UK. Today we are joined by the one and the only Donatella of the House of Wig. Everybody say hello.
Ciao Bailey.
Ciao Bailey.
How are we, everyone?
Special shout out to Donna's makeup today. It is very, very stunning, very Italian.
Yeah, I'm feeling very patriotic.
Italian. Yes, we do love it. We do. So today, on top of the normal episode, I'm going to make a concerted effort to slow down and actually speak properly, which I never do. So, Donna, how have you been during lockdown? How's things going? How's the wig? How's everything in Dublin?
Good, yeah, no complaints. I think this time round we were much more proactive about doing drag because now I'm working, so I've less time and the weekends are dedicated now. So we have Saturday is drag day for myself and Shakira Knightley, who is my housemate slash sister slash pain in the arse. And so every Saturday try to get up and drag, even if you don't want to, just fucking throw on a wig, throw on a bit of makeup, make a TikTok, have a review at Magdalena Scandal, whatever I fancy.
Yes, and how are you enjoying UK Drag Race so far?
It's brilliant. I genuinely think this is up there with like season 4, season 5, season 6 of US and All Stars 2 in terms of just an excellent cast. It's so good. Like, and I think that's part of the reason why, you know, the eliminations have kind of been a bit controversial so far because everyone's so good, you know, so it's always hard to know who's going to go.
I mean, they'll all definitely have a career after this. There's no doubt about it. Like, whoever goes home is going home for splitting hairs, basically. But yes, with that, we will get into the episode. So, after the elimination, all the queens walk in. I don't know if you noticed, but they all decided to wear, like, black and berets. Did you notice that?
I actually didn't. I only noticed Ahura and Tace wearing their berets.
Yeah, they all
and Bimini was wearing a beret. Oh, actually now. And they were all wearing berets.
Yeah. So I was like, what happened? Like, it was clearly a concerted effort, but I wonder, was there a reason behind it? Then they are having their little tit-tat. RuPaul walks in. Once again, the suits are looking unreal these series. And then he announces that the mini challenge is the Nottingham Carnival Limbo. Okay, this is what I don't like about Drag Race. So they all brought love to the main stage, and they ended up using it for that. I'd be devastated. Imagine spending like £5.
I'm very confused by this because obviously they get like a brief of what to bring.
Yeah.
But are they told like, okay, these are the possible mini challenges and these are the possible runways, or like are they using their runway stuff for like Carnival for that? Because some of the stuff was like, well, most of it was all very nice, but you know, it's kind of hard to tell. Like the level,
I think they're just given concepts and they're like, you need to look for this, and they're never told what it's for. But I'd be devastated spending all that money just to do quick drag limbo.
Yeah, and can I just say as well, Tace had 15 minutes to get ready and she was still beautiful.
Still stunning. It's not fair.
It's unhealthy.
Fucking bitch. Jodie Hart was also, I guess now. Jodie Hart is well known in English drag, so I'm surprised that she's not been a contestant, first of all. But her coming as a guest, does that mean she won't do UK Drag Race? Like, is she happy to just come in, do her bits, and then leave?
I'd say she's probably just doing well enough for herself. Like, she's probably working full time, I'd imagine. Well, maybe not currently, but like in general, you know. So yeah, she's one of. Like, I mean, we've all heard of her, so she must be making enough money.
Now, I not even aesthetically, but for some reason, getting like very divine energy in terms of like, has their drag career sorted? Like, they don't need to do Drag Race to become more popular. Like, they're a staple in drag. Maybe Jodie Hart like is getting a nod for UK drag to be like, you are like a staple. So possibly,
because when it was being plotted and planned, the UK, her name was thrown around a lot. To be either a judge or like a host similar to like Canada and things like that. Yeah. But glad to see her.
Yeah. So then RuPaul tells them to get together with their best Judies for the main challenge. So obviously everyone comes together. So Then RuPaul tells them the challenge is called, I think it's fashionable frenemies. So they're not competing with anyone else except their partner, which obviously throws a spanner in the mix because they're all friends. That would be similar to, say, now if you and Shaq were in Drag Race together, you obviously would get together and then it's you two against each other.
Yeah, and that was very clever as well. I really, really like this challenge because they got them together as friends and then revealed that they were going to be working against each other. And then putting them in teams like that, naturally you're just comparing yourself to the person that you're paired with. So that's going to create nice kind of energy of just like, oh, is it the right thing I'm doing?
Yeah.
And then the other thing was when they gave them all the same materials, that's brilliant because it's like the technical challenge in Bake Off when everyone starts with the same thing and then, you know, it all ends up differently. But, you know, see what everyone can do with the exact same stuff is cool because you can see the different takes, even though they both, you know, no two people came out with the same thing, you know?
So the groups end up being Sister and Ginny Lemon, Lawrence Cheney, Ellie Diamond, Veronica Green, Tia Coffey, Tace and Ahura, Bimini Bon Boulat, and Astina. So then Tace and Veronica get to assign colours. So Sister and Ginny get pink, Lawrence and Ellie get gold, Veronica and Tia get green, Tace and Ahura are black, and Bimini and Astina get blue. Would you have a preference? If them colours came out, what would you lean towards?
Ooh, I think black, or not black, blue actually. I think blue would have been the best one because, you know, black is good, black always works, but you know, you could easily make the wrong move, you know? Whereas blue, get a nice vibrant fabric, look lovely on my skin tone, you know? But I think blue, because the blue fabrics they got were fab as well. Oh.
Yeah, like matte. Now, if I was doing well in the competition, I was like comfortable taking a risk, I'd go pink because I'm always drawn to pink as a color anyways. But if I was kind of trailing behind and you had to turn something, I think black is very forgiving. Like you can make a mistake with black and you won't see it because it's black, whereas any other color, it kind of sticks out if something goes wrong.
Yeah, pink would be fairly dodgy, I think, because, you know, it depends on your vibe. It's very easy, like, especially with the box they got, it was very easy to go down the tacky route, which kind of, you know, suits them loud and proud, that kind of vibe. But if you want to do something really chic, it would have been definitely a challenge.
Yeah. So then as they're working in the workroom with all the materials, I just noticed that everything that comes out of Tace's mouth is endearing. Like she's very, you're drawn to her. I think her caption has fast become the nerve, the audacity, the cheek, the gall, and the gumption.
Oh, very good Welsh accent, gumption.
Thank you. The producers are really pushing that. So either she said it once and they took it and ran with it for like 6 different times, or she's actually pushing that as her thing. But I think that's good. There's something unique about that. It's not just like day one, here's my catchphrase. It's very homey.
Yeah.
Game.
I saw a tweet today actually that was like naming body parts in my GCSE exam. It's like the nerve, the gall, what is it? Nerve,
the cheek, the audacity, the gall, and the gumption.
Yeah, that one. The gumption.
The gumption. When Tia is talking as well, she gives great talking heads. She is a narrator of the season to me. Like she's funny, but she's never self-deprecating. Like she's never mean to herself. She always tries to make it a fun joke. So even when someone's coming at her with aggression, there's never anything mean that she pushes back. It's always trying to mediate. I really, really like that.
She's very good at turning things in her favor.
She is. I didn't appreciate RuPaul pushing pads and a corset on Ginny. That felt very uncomfortable to me. I was like, you picked this queen because it's Ginny Lennon. Like she's non-binary. She doesn't ascribe to a pads and corset. I don't like every time a queen that's different comes onto UK Drag Race, they try and streamline them into like pretty drag.
Yeah. There's always this line of like, give us glamour. We need to see glamour or whatever they're looking for. And it's an interesting thing because, you know, it's definitely an element you have to have for a drag race. You have to have some element of sexy or be capable of doing sexy or glamour. But, you know, it's not applicable to every queen or king, you know?
Yeah, like don't be wrong. I think seeing Ginny in Pads, and of course, it was interesting, and I would like to see her dabble in that on her own time.
Mm,
Like it was a challenge down the line. She did it of her own accord and felt comfortable doing it. Great, but I think this was ultimately her downfall in this challenge. I'll give more reasons as to why. I just didn't like the fact RuPaul was pushing a corset and pads on her.
mm.
I just didn't like it. Then she moved on to Lawrence and Ellie. What I
Lawrence
liked about this was
Cheney.
Lawrence Cheney. There's some similarities between Scottish and Irish drag in that the scene can be very small but uplifting to each other, but also in terms of
Black
payment,
money.
it's hard to come by paid gigs because there obviously is so much of us, and drag hasn't become as mainstream in clubs. I'd like to know that, like, say in Scotland, it was something similar. Like Ellie Diamond works in a drive-through. I'm assuming it's McDonald's, and Lawrence got, I think, was £15 for a guest slot.
Yeah, I love how RuPaul was so shocked as well. It's like, you mean you don't do drag full time?
Yeah, I think because in America, I think dollar bills are so commonplace. Like you can easily build up tips if you're good. Whereas
yes, yeah,
you can't give a fiver and you can't fuck a pound to someone's forehead. Like you can't just ring a pound at them. And there's no way to easily give money like the States do. So I think, but it was nice just to see that there's some similarity between Scottish and Irish drag in that it's a small community, but it's very diverse in it. And I just like to see it. Then after that, RuPaul moved on to Ahura and Taze, and Lawrence had made comment that there was sexual tension.
A lot of, I can't do this accent with him. There's a lot of sexual tension between Taze and Ahura.
There was something about the way Lawrence said it was hilarious. It was like slow and drawn out. And then when RuPaul went to Taze like this, Taze was like, she wouldn't know sexual tension ever stop her across the chops.
Yeah, like, that was a risky move.
It was risky. It was
very lucky she didn't hear it.
Oh, so lucky, because I think Lawrence would have had a breakdown over that.
Yeah.
But what I'm liking about Taze is that at the start of the season, I didn't dislike her, but obviously she had that whole like walked into like the bitchy music, bitch track number 4,
yeah,
and trying to push that. But as the season is progressing, she's becoming this lovable character that just happens to be pretty.
She's very lucky she had an early downfall because then immediately she was made human and therefore more likable. Because if she had just bombed her way through, we would have got very sick of that very quickly. So it's nice to know she has flaws because she is stunning.
I mean, I wouldn't consider that a fall, considering she was called like one of the prettiest faces on Drag Race because she lip syncs. Like even her fall was to her benefit. Like it just pushed her further in Drag Race canon. To me, at the moment, she's not doing any wrong, and I love to hate that about her. Like she's just perfection in that she owns who she is.
Yeah.
But anyways, did you have any comments about RuPaul's walk around with them?
I think I just liked the way he was pure stirring the pot for the sexual tension and just wanted to know what the crack was, do you know? Yeah. And I genuinely think he's very interested in all that kind of stuff. Yeah. He'd love to know who's like getting off with who and all this crack, you know?
Oh, I'm loving it. So then, as RuPaul finishes the walk around, all the girls think they're friends just making a challenge. It's what it is. RuPaul announces not only are they competing against each other, everyone who is the weaker of the two is the bottom. From a producer side, I loved it. It was sheer drama. From the other side, you're potentially cutting out very strong queens. Like we could have lost potentially either Ellie or Lawrence. If any of them were stitched, one of them could have been in the bottom. So it was a risky move because we could have lost someone strong, but it was great for the drama. Great for the drama.
But it was great to get, like I said before, to get that kind of energy going where they're like, okay, this has to be good. Do you know? And like, when was it Veronica that turned around and was like, oh, I don't want to send on my best friend and all this kind of stuff. But and imagine if they had done the worst dressed pair were in the bottom 2 and they had to lip sync.
Oh,
that would have been quite a land to get.
That would have been fun though. So then, because of what RuPaul said, Ginny has a whole moment about being non-binary, and the reason why they love yellow is because yellow is the color of healing and positivity, which I love.
Love that. Love
it
that.
adds a layer of dimension to her as a character. It's not just some random color she chose. There was actual meaning behind it. It kind of fucks with RuPaul's pads comments because Ginny was trying to explain what non-binary meant to her, and it still didn't fit the pads, and you could tell she wasn't that comfortable. But what it gave us, it was that lovely conversation with Bimini, because Bimini is also non-binary. And I didn't know if you've seen it on Twitter, but Bimini said, you don't have to have yellow hair to be non-binary.
Well, true. But I really enjoyed and appreciated that moment, because I think it was you know, it's an issue that's never really brought up on the show, and ever since RuPaul's past comments, you know, it's something that's become more prevalent with Gottmik in the US, a series being trans, and now two non-binary are openly identifying and talking about it in a way that wasn't, you know, sensationalized or anything. They were just kind of like, I'm non-binary too, I'm non-binary. Oh yeah, you know, it's hard sometimes, but you know, we're through it. And also just Bimini literally just laying out, it's like, I'm non-binary, I choose to identify with it. We're too complex to boil us down to two sexes. And it's like, hello, makes total sense. No one can argue with that, you know?
What I liked about the conversation as well is that it didn't feel produced or forced. Like, I didn't want to delve too far into, did the producer set this up, because it was so heartwarming. I didn't care if it was. Like, it was still genuine. So I don't like produced, but this was nice. But Ginny did have a lot of trauma. She said that when she was growing up, her siblings never lived, they just survived, and that she felt stupid and ugly growing up. It was heartbreaking because sometimes the trauma of it is trauma, like it's bled into her adult life. And then at that point, I was worried that it was shadowing, because so far, anyone that got screen time in terms of their trauma ends up being gone, basically. But I just thought it was really, really upsetting for Ginny to have to lay out her past like that.
Yeah, and it's interesting well to see, you know, because obviously there's an element where the drag is helping with that, but then also there's an element of, you can see where how much it's influenced that with her character and being, you know, yellow, positive, happy, comedy, all these kind of things, is obviously trying to like heal that trauma, you know? But then RuPaul goes, forget about your trauma, just look sexy.
Everybody say love, no trauma. And then as well, Ahura had a moment saying that she was blacklisted in fashion because of drag. Now, this is my 2 cents on it. I don't know if this is a thing or not, but obviously Ahura is not having the best time in terms of social media. Tia kind of let slip from episode 1 that she's not well liked in the drag scene. And on Twitter, Ahura has been alleged to have assaulted people. So I'm thinking, like, maybe it's not just the fact that she does drag. Maybe it's because she's not a great person.
That's usually the case.
It could be the case. But I was like, blacklisted because you're a drag queen. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And basically all the fashion's like gay. But anyways.
I could feel a bit of like, there was a bit of spin behind that, you know? Definitely trying to be like,
she's the Leo Brasher of season 2 of UK Drag Race. She has a spin unit on 24/7. She is the Leo Brasher.
Spin cycle in the washing machine.
So then we get into the main challenge, unless you have anything else from the workroom.
Well, I would like to say that Tia's first idea sounded very good and looked very good. And I would really like to know what possessed her to just go, actually, I should just change the whole thing. Do you know? Was it she was saying about things she was able to do or not able to do, but even if she made a basic undergarment and hot glued onto it, she could have made her initial idea and it would have more of a concept behind it. But anyways.
On the main stage, the guest judge is a supermodel called Jordan. Did I get her last name? No, but she looks stunning.
Oh, do you know what? Shaq Shaq didn't like her outfit, and I loved it. I thought it was so fab. Just simple, like obviously she's beautiful. She can wear anything, like, you know. But I just loved it. I loved the construction, and it was like airy and like woody, you know.
See, what I liked about that is I have a personal love for when guest judges drag up to be on the main
Yes.
stage. Like that wasn't just fashion, that was camp drag. And I could tell like she was having a fun time as well. She wasn't just sitting there, she was actually getting involved as well. Like her titties were there, her chest was out, and it was like bronze.
I love how the
Lesbian.
celebs who get their life on Drag Race. And also in terms of UK Drag Race, it seems everyone's having a fucking great time. You know, because I watched US today, and I was comparing, because I had watched UK and then after watched US, and it's so funny to see the difference. The US is so much more serious, competitive, like everyone's shouting and roaring at each other, and even the comments are so much more critical, you know. But like the UK, everyone's just having a good time, everyone's kind of taking the piss out of each other, and then it's just a bit of a party, you know.
When the drag queens in the USA we're sisters, I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, you're sisters. The UK one, I feel like they're genuinely sisters. Like there's a sisterhood that like none of them are mean towards each other unless they're a mean person in general. Like they all seem to be nice to each other, which I really, really like.
They take the piss out of each other, but like, you know, they're not gonna come for each other's necks, like, do you know?
Like that's shade and reading in the best way possible. Like that's what drag is meant to be. And like shade and reading has become a negative thing where I feel like this kind of brings back an element of fun to shade and reading.
Yes, it's very down home, back to the roots.
Yeah. So now we're getting into the meat of the episode, as we'd say. So the queens start walking out. First up is Taste in this like deconstructed black pleather moment. It gave me very Ariana Grande Dangerous Woman, but emo. Like, you know, Ariana Grande had like the bunny ears. This was the same thing except an emo version of it.
But it was Ariana Grande Dangerous Woman if she did poppers and went to like Kit Kat in Berlin.
Yeah. A fisting bottom attire. Ahura comes out looking like a member of the Black Panthers, but a faggot member of the Black Panthers. Like the gay one, the tokenistic gay one. Do you like it?
I liked it. It was nice. It was well done. It wasn't anything wow. It was very similar to Sharon Needles' look from season 4 when she did like the poodle look.
Yeah.
Do you know that one? And she had big poodle hair beret. Now, obviously, big poodle hair beret, it's going to get a comparison. It was very well done. It was nice, but I wasn't like jaw dropped, do you know? But it was very well done.
Yeah, my issue with the horror so far is she loves to plug the I'm a fashion designer, but everything she's coming out with isn't majorly fashion. It's not wowing me. It's not like Aquaria. When Aquaria walked out, you're like, oh fuck, that's fashion. But is it fashion?
The first time I saw horror was on the Meet the Queens when she had the blue look with the squiggly hair, and that was when I was like, oh, I can't wait for this bitch. And then since then I'm a bit like, you know, I'd like something more wow, like Aquaria, that kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah, it's just always like missing the mark. It's like a false start each time. Let's hope it gets better, we hope. Then Ginny Lemon. It wasn't terrible, but it was just a tube dress. And I feel like the reason why it didn't look great is because she was working with new proportions. Like she had to work with the pads. So it was bad, but I can't blame her for it being bad. RuPaul literally pushed this on her.
Yeah, and I don't think she was particularly comfortable in it either. You know, she didn't look very like herself, and it wasn't as put together because it was like this challenge thrown at her and be like, okay, be sexy, and then all of a sudden she had to come up with the whole thing. So she didn't look as polished as she usually does. And you know, if she hadn't been told to be sexy, she would probably be in the bottom, because if she had just decided to do it on her own, that's what I mean. You know, but because RuPaul had said it, he couldn't be like, well, you didn't really do it very well, so I'm going to put you in the bottom. So he had to, you know, be nice to her. But you know, it's good to play with all the crayons in the box, but you know, you have to be comfortable too and know what your vibe is, you know.
Play with all the crayons in the box, but not because they were thrown at you. Like, take your own time with the crayons.
That's it. Yeah. Take your own time with the crayons and share them.
Yeah. And then Sister, she came out. This sounds like a very limited drag reference, but it was very like Juno Birch-esque. It was like that long sleeve, rounded, with the leg out.
She does give me Juno Birch, even though I'm not particularly gone on Sister, but those pants were gorgeous. I love the pants.
Yeah. I think the issue with Sister is that she's not a bad drag queen. She's just falling through the cracks. Like, there's nothing about Sister that's like demanding screen time. Like, she's doing well. Well, no, she's doing okay. It's just okay.
I keep forgetting about her, you know? And then I see her and I'm like, how is she still there?
I mean, I can't imagine she feels great because no one's talking about her. Like, it's a good thing and a bad thing that she's not getting ripped for her looks, but she's also getting... She's in no one's top 4. Let's put it that way.
Right, yeah. I think she seems like she seems confident, but just quiet, you know? Yeah. So like, because when she talks, she seems very laid back, very like, this is just what I do. You know, she doesn't seem to be freaking out about anything, you know? So I think she's just literally doing her thing and that's falling wherever it's falling.
Yeah. Then we want to Veronica Green. It was very like if Fiona from Shrek had a Debs. Very like all green. She said it was the Irish flag, and I wanted to know, like, is there an Irish connection, or did she just take the Irish flag?
I was saying she looks like Kylie Minogue if Kylie Minogue did Irish Dancing with the Stars.
Yes. But like TG Carter level budget.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And when she was saying like, oh, like the inside of the dress is lined, all I could think of was that Derek Barry on her season going, everywhere you look,
there's a hem.
There's a hem here, a hem here. I was like, oh, I can't.
Every time I see a hem, that's all I think of.
Yeah. I can't say, like, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either.
It was very well constructed, I think, but it was just not groundbreaking. You know, it was well made.
Yeah, I have written down that work does not equal taste. Like, she put a lot of effort in something that didn't end up looking great, put it that way. Yeah. But anyways, then we come on to Tia Coffee comes out in this like 50s, 60s fantasy. It gave me very like Grease, but TY production of Grease. I mean, it didn't fit well, but I thought this was better than Veronica's look. There's something about it I liked. It was fun. It was playful.
I didn't really like it. I think I loved the mug and the hair. That was very Marina and the Diamonds, Electra Hardy era. And I did enjoy that. But I think, you know, if you're going to go simple, don't go for a top separates for that kind of challenge. You know, that same problem that happened to Stina, she went too simple. You know, if you can't make something, you know, make something simple and just make a whole garment. Don't make separates because it's like, it just looks like a top and a skirt, you know, it doesn't look like an outfit.
Yeah. No, bear in mind, this did end up being her third outfit idea. I think she already started to work on something else and then switched to this.
Yeah, where's the hoop skirt she was on about?
Then Athena, very like anime schoolgirl. I can't really say this out laughing because it's like pot kettle black. Her upper body was huge in that. Her proportions were like, it was very, very, very well constructed. Like, that could have been off the rack. But you can see why she got dragged for it. It was a bit simple. I don't want to say basic, it was just simple.
She needed like a little bit of tulle under the skirt or something like that just to kick it out. And then I think my other problem with that was when it was the fabric, the top fabric could have been fabulous. But I think with the way she had her hair, everything was coming down to the middle and you just couldn't see anything because she had black hair, the dark fabric, black hair. And it was just, there was no definition. So like, it was like good. And then it kind of just went away. And then the bottom was just, you know, tiny little bum and amazing legs. Yeah. Like, she needed a bigger bum.
Like, she clearly has the skill of sewing. So if I were her and I seen that, I would have told her just make it like a floor length gown with like a massive slit up to her hip. That way then she could
Yeah,
have like a clean line and walked and sold it like an Oscar red carpet thing.
yeah.
I think it was just an unfortunate choice on her part that looks great, but not on the Drag Race stage.
And I think in general, with all the design challenges, if you choose to play it safe and you're looking at your garments, you'd be like, it's nice, but you're not worried about it at all, you're probably doing something wrong. You know,
Yeah.
because all the people that get sent home, they make something that's either terrible or something that's nice but boring.
Yeah. Then her counterpart in the blue was Bimini Bon Boulat. If Ariel from The Little Mermaid had a cousin from like the big city that was like a fashion mermaid, but also a bit slutty.
Bimini is killing it for me. I am obsessed. Every time she's on screen, I'm just like, you're the coolest thing going. But yeah, that look was fabulous. And funnily enough, I also on Twitter today, there was someone put Chromatica 2 into 911 and it was Bimini going, yeah, I'm not really good at construction, and then it was do bang, and it was this week's look, and it was amazing.
I say this every time I talk about her runway. She's just versatile. She hasn't written something that's similar to her last look. Everything is different. She's fast becoming someone I look forward to seeing on
Exactly,
stage.
yeah. After the first week, I kind of thought that was the vibe, was kind of going to be a bit grungy, a bit messy, a bit rough around the edges, but clearly not, you know?
Yeah.
And very excited for Bimini every week.
Yeah. So then we go on to the gold box, which was first up Ellie Diamond. First of all, I just love her. This like golden bodysuit with like frills. It was very like Victorian bodysuit. I think she got away with it being just a bodysuit because the way she adorned it turned it drag. It wasn't just bodysuit.
And I loved the little bustle on the back. Just give the little bit of, it's great.
But fuck her for being 21.
Yeah, what the hell? 21, like.
So annoyed.
And she's like seamstress, mug down, the whole shebang.
Fuck this bitch. Then her counterpart in the gold, Lawrence Cheney.
Lawrence Cheney!
Well constructed, but maths teacher at her 60th.
Yeah, it was it was very Mrs. Doubtfire, you know. But she looked amazing. But it was just, obviously it was a choice. It looked very well, but I was kind of like, you do look really old though, you know. So I don't know how to feel about it. But it's like, if that's totally what you're going for.
But like Mother of the Bride section in Wallace, it has to be Wallace of all things.
Yeah.
Very well made, and I can see why she did well, but like it just aged her.
Yeah.
Not in an ideal way. Do you have any other critiques about the runway before we discuss the tops and the bottoms?
No, I think we've covered everyone.
Actually, do you know what? Who was your top and bottom of the whole runway?
Okay. My top, definitely Bimini. 100%.
Okay.
Loved that. My bottom, I probably would have had Tia and Ginny in terms of the actual look.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Now, given the precursors to Ginny trying to be sexy, obviously that would be a bit unfair. But if we were going off the looks, essentially, I would say Ginny and Tia had the worst looks.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal, to say the least. So anyways, we go through the list, and I don't know if you noticed, but after they announced the top of each person, they had a sound effect, but like the sound effect was different. So they were clearly pulling out like the shitty sound effects they never use. It was just a production choice. So Ahura and Taves, Ahura is the top. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah. Then in terms of Sister and Ginny, Sister was the top. That was fairly expected, which is unfortunate. Veronica Green and Tia. Veronica got the top. I personally don't like Veronica, so I couldn't see this for her journey, but whatever. Bimini and Asina, Bimini came top. And between Lawrence and Ellie, Lawrence got top. Now, I didn't understand this at the time, but looking back, I think because it was so well constructed and not just bodysuit, she slightly got away with it. That was splitting the hair.
Yeah, they were very close, definitely. Also,
So
did you notice when Jordan Dunn said, "Oh, Ellie Diamond, you're kind of giving me Beyonce"? They just cut to Taste being like, and it was like so unnecessary. Like,
yeah.
but I enjoyed it.
Do you agree with tops and bottoms? Like, obviously, I think everything there was fair enough. Would you have any different?
No, I think there was. I think Ellie and Lawrence Gillet were the only ones that it could have gone either way. But you know, I can see why either one would have won. You know.
Yeah. So then left on stage then for the critiques is Tate, Ginny, Tia, Astina, and Ellie. So when they get to Tia, Michelle says, "Tia, tell me what you think I'm going to say about this dress." She goes, "It's stunning. It's elegant. You love it so much that you want to wear it yourself. It's handcrafted." She turned it around.
Genius.
And endeared her. And then they went on to like discuss more about it. And she turns to Taste like, "I can't look as pretty as Taste. I can't just walk out here." Ends up having a full breakdown. And I was like, Jesus Christ, that is horrible. So we had Ginny having basically a breakdown. Then on to Tia having a breakdown. I felt so bad for her because like you don't expect Tia to have that because she's so funny. I felt bad for her. Then we move on to Astina. She had a breakdown. I was like, is this an A&E? Is this an emergency department? All this trauma? Like, what is going on? I was like, because like half the cast at this point have had a breakdown, honestly, truly.
Yeah. I think what the trigger there was the fact that no one was safe and all those 5 people were in the bottom. So they were all felt like it could be them, you know? So it was really just everyone going like, oh!
Yeah. Oh, it wasn't ideal. Then they all leave the stage anyways, and we come into Untucked. By the way, I love Untucked being in the episode. I don't want to have to finish an episode and then go find. I haven't watched American Untucked since episode 1. I just don't have the energy to go watch it.
Yeah, I Untucked, you know, I could take it or leave it. I think I watched today's one, which was quite good. But other than that, you know, you could get it on YouTube. You don't really need to watch the whole thing. Yeah. You know, you're not missing anything.
No, but Untucked being in the UK Drag Race adds to the story. It's not like there's something you're missing. Yeah. Like this just adds to everything that happens.
It just gives you what you need. You just need the bit of drama, the bit of I felt like this, I felt like that, the bit of behind the scenes, and that's it. And you can go back to the main stage then.
Yeah. So then, as the bottom queens are getting dragged on the main stage, Ahura starts ripping out of Tia, like going in.
Oh.
Was her taking her frustration out. I didn't care. I didn't like this bitch. I was like, you're being venomous. It's not just mean. Like you're attacking this whole this person's whole character. I didn't appreciate it at all.
I love also how at the start Ahura was like, oh, like I just really thought I was going to win, and she's trying to have a moment. And Veronica said, well, like maybe you shouldn't have Taste so much, and like you clearly fucked up. So like didn't give her even just a bit of like, oh babe. She was just straight off the bat like, it's your own fault.
Well, the queens in the UK are like calling a spade a spade. Like, do you remember that episode of Untucked where Ginny said whether or not it was an ASOS jacket, it was still good, and maybe you're just intimidated by her. Like the UK queens are really like they're not pulling the piss, like they're not letting.
That was to Ahura as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
they're just shutting her down completely.
It's because everything that she's failing at fashion, it's like her nerve. It's like you push that one button and she's set off.
She takes it out on everyone.
Yeah, there's been talks now of like obviously someone has to get the villain edit, and that I can see to an extent. But I think with Ahura, whether or not she's getting the villain edit, she's still saying these things. She's still being this way, and it's multiple occurrences. So on Twitter as well, she said that it might sound like damage control, but she wasn't trying to do damage control. But she was saying how she was upset and she was taking her frustration out on Tia, and that she was there to make good TV and possibly an OnlyFans with Taste. Really tries to spin it, I think.
Yeah, and I think that she just has a bit of like spoiled syndrome or something, maybe, you know, just a bit kind of like if she doesn't get her way, she's not happy, you know, and just starts looking at whose fault it is, you know.
Yeah, and then with the allegations of assault, I can see her being someone who knows their way around spinning a scandal.
Mm.
I think it'll be interesting to watch her after the season in terms of what she does, not because it could be good, but I think she's one to watch in terms of like keep an eye on her. Something could go wrong very fast.
Mm.
Enough about it. Enough about this bit.
Stay tuned.
So then the bottom two ends up being Tia and Stina. Do you agree?
Yeah, given the context of everything, yes. Like I said, Ginny look-wise probably could have been in the bottom, but it would have been sacrilege to do that after what RuPaul said to her. So yeah, I think it was fair. But
So
yeah, the lip sync.
Before we go on to that though, I think the producers were trying to save RuPaul because I know she makes questionable choices, like even the first episode, getting rid of Joe and then Cherry. Had they got rid of Ginny, I'd say the fandom would have went ballistic because the reason why she's in the bottom is because RuPaul was like,
yeah,
we're in pads and boobs. So I think producers were like, we can't get rid of her. We make her bottom three. We can't get rid of her. Like I would have put Tia and Ginny in the bottom because although Tina was very basic, it was still well made. It wasn't great, it wasn't terrible, whereas I think Tia had a bit more critique and Ginny obviously came out in what she came out in. So I think that was producers saving RuPaul from getting backlash to a major degree. So anyways, Tia and Astina started lip sync. Astina's like, you want a lip sync? I'm giving you a lip sync. And she has been touted as like a lip sync assassin. So they start off with, well, the song is Don't Start Now by Dua Lipa. What's your thoughts before I launch into it? What's your thoughts?
There's an awful lot to Dua Lipa at the moment. I'd much prefer just see, all I listen to is old shit. So like I'm much happier with like give us a bit of Annie Lennox or something like that. That's what I would love. Like, because we had Dua Lipa, have we had Dua Lipa twice on UK now?
Yeah.
It was on US as well. So, and I think Dua Lipa is going to be a judge. So I don't know if they signed a partnership or something.
Someone bought her album on Spotify and they were like, we're just going to use this. We paid $9 for it. We're going to use it. Like, it's a lot of Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, yeah, the lip sync. Very, very interesting lip sync. And what did you think of it anyways?
I agree with Tia Stain because although Astina gave a good performance, that was a lip sync for your life. I haven't felt that way about a lip sync in a long time. Tia, you could see it in her eyes. She was fighting and she was really trying to keep herself there. And I think Astina was confident in her abilities so much so she wasn't worried and therefore didn't push to beat because like when you're a dancer, there's a certain level of confidence you have in yourself to be able to do a good lip sync. And I think she accidentally assumed subconsciously she had it in the bag against Tia because Tia is probably not known as a lip sync assassin.
Yes.
And I think because Tia was so wrapped up in her head, she literally let it all out on stage. And I think that's what kept her there is because she was fighting tooth and nail to stay. So I personally agree with Tia staying. I felt bad as Cena went because I think I have a similar aesthetic in my head to Astina, and that is like urban wear, very R&B, club wear. So I didn't want to see Astina go. I think she could run further, but I do agree with Tia staying. What's your thoughts?
So when I was watching it, I thought Astina was good, but wasn't amazing. I'm gonna slay this bitch. Like, it was just, I liked the way she was like moving slowly. I quite enjoyed that. Then I felt Tia was very kitchen sink and was trying to do everything. Yeah. And I thought, because, like you're saying, putting it all out there, putting it all on the stage, that can go either way. It usually works, but then there's people like, remember Milan in US who used to like rip the outfits and wigs off. Do you know what? That's too much, So I thought I was shocked at the result, but I can see why. And I also, because I just thought Astina was a really strong contender And, you know, RuPaul was very, like, literally looked at her and went, "You are stunning," you know?
Yeah.
So I think RuPaul probably wasn't impressed with her kind of, "I've got this one," you know? It's like producers as well. And RuPaul was being clever in keeping Tia, because Tia had a very strong storyline at that point, you know, and we kind of seen her not at her best, and also realized her potential when they were talking about, you know, you could be a model, you could do this, you're a sample size. So it's exciting to see, will she turn it around? You know, whereas with Astina, it's like, you were good, but then you're kind of like, oh, you really made a bad choice and you should be better than that.
Yeah, like Tia can have a great redemption arc now, like an unreal redemption arc. But the concern is, it's similar to the way they told Miss Vanjie that she needs to stop wearing catsuits. At that stage, they've brought what they've brought. So even if Tia wants to do something different, she might not have the opportunity to do it. I mean, it could be a great redemption arc, but I'm appreciative of the fact she stayed, because we have to see an argument between her and Ahura. This is one time now I hope Tia does not mediate and just lets that bitch have it, because maybe Tia's like, "What did you say?" So I'm glad for next week's episode. But yes, I suppose that was the whole episode. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, if people
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. If people want to find the Italian Stallioness on Instagram, where can they find you online? Let people know.
Okay, so Instagram is at Donna the Drag Queen, TikTok at Donna the Drag Queen, and I think that's all. And follow House of Wig, and at House of Wig on Instagram, House of Wig events, at House of Wig on YouTube, and yeah, that's everyone.
And you'll have an event coming up at the end of February, don't you?
Yes, hopefully. All going well.
Secret. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I'm sure we'll have you back at some point, whether it's the US or UK version. Probably UK.
Yes,
more
please do.
But thank you so much, and we will see you soon.
Okay, ciao.
Bye.